I've always grown up in a household where I see business.
Right.
Automatically, oh my gosh, what can I do? What can I sell? I was taking a lot of annual leave to do what I love.
Why are you in a full-time job and not just doing creative stuff?
Working in sales, it goes hand in hand because I'm always in a client-based role. That's why I never left. My line manager, for example, they understood what I did. Do you know what, Kimberley? Take that day off. We won't market. Just go, because this is your future.
You started Melanin Style Diaries as a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
It was always, you know, women of colour with 10k, 20k, 30k following, and someone who's got 800 to maybe 1k followers, they were not getting a looking.
This is the Promisingpreneur podcast. I am Aahliyah Amerat, and today I'm here with Kimberley Lovemore, the founder of Melanin Style Diaries and an interviewer and content creator, to say the least, to be honest with you. Hello, Kimberley.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. Are you really great?
Yeah, I'm great on surface.
Love that. Love that honesty. Okay, so I just want to say a massive thank you for coming down today. You know what this podcast is about. Seen a couple episodes, I'm sure.
Yeah, seen many.
Okay, good. I want to, first off, understand who Kimberley Lovemore is, right? I want to know, aside from business, who is Kimberley?
I'm still trying to find out who I am myself. Just to be very honest, so I'm going through a, process, transition at the moment where I'm still trying to understand where I am in life. Who am I at 30 years old compared to who I was at 25 or 20 years old? So I'm still trying to navigate myself through that. I'm reintroducing myself to myself. I can't believe I'm doing certain things compared to what I did when I was 25. And I'm surprising myself with a lot of things at the moment. So yeah.
I love that. And that's honest. That's just God's honest truth, to be honest with you, because everybody seems to, we were talking about this off air, but everybody seems to think that there is some kind of place that you must be at 30 or you must be at 25 or you must be at 20 in these particular ages. And if you're not, you're going through a whole existential crisis, because it's like everyone around you is like, well, you should have been there at this time, or you had a particular story in your head that you should have been somewhere at this time. Exactly. And then when you get there and it's not that, it's like everything either falls apart. Yeah, everything starts falling apart, everything starts stopping, everything feels weird. And then there's a sense of losing yourself when really you haven't actually lost yourself, but you're just you've changed and you're just renewing yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
Everybody has to renew.
Absolutely.
Everything
like
renews.
A phoenix, renewing. I would say with that, it's about being able to stop and really understanding your emotions. So I never really understood my emotions. I would feel it for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and I'll just brush it off and continue on with life without addressing what's actually bothering me. Right. And that's something that's major, that's big in the whole renewing aspect. And it's okay to still go through it. But you have to acknowledge it. Yeah. You have to actually acknowledge your emotions.
And what's been your, we're just going to jump right in here, right?
That's okay.
What's been your experience of renewing yourself? Has there been something that's kind of gone on in your life that you felt like blocked you from before? Or what's been your process of renewing?
Process of renewing during COVID time. I can't speak for all, but during COVID time, it was very challenging for me. There were pros and cons to it. So I was able to build a relationship with God more. because that was pretty much non-existent. I'll say a prayer over food. I'll say a prayer before I leave my home, and that's about it. Or if I was going through challenging times at work, I'll say a prayer. However, during COVID time, I really tried my utmost best to open a Bible, daily devotions in the morning, and actually have it on my mind and with everything that I do within my daily doings. Even if I'm at home not doing anything, it will still be on my mind. So my relationship with God, I feel, is gotten stronger, and God knows that. In regards to, again, renewing, I would say facing demons, facing what I feel may have blocked me during my time, or, friends, family, who's who. Because I don't really look at labels anymore. Mum, dad, cousin, friend, best friend. I don't look at labels like that. Who is the actual person? Because there's people out there who have a mum, have a dad, have a sister, cousin, and because they're blood, they shall remain in your life, or you must speak to them a certain way. And I had to reevaluate my relationships, even to my mum and dad. I had to reevaluate my relationship with them. And am I stuck in that sort of time warp of, oh my God, I must respect my mum, must respect my dad, although they speak to me in a certain way or treat me in a certain way. So it's a lot of reevaluating relationships in my life as well. It was a standstill for me. There was a lot going on mentally with me. I didn't realise I suppressed quite a lot before COVID. Right. And I don't know how I was even functioning, to be fair. If COVID never happened, I feel that my life will be totally different from how I've created it now. And I feel, some people will still be in my life, and I feel it may have been even more toxic, or I may have went down the wrong road. So now I feel I'm having to face me. I'm having to face who is Kimberley. Who is Kimberley at 30? Who am I? What is it that I really want to do? What does my life look like in the next 2 years? So I've stopped doing the 5-year plan now. It's the next 2 years, what's actually happening. Because COVID time, it was around 2 years or so, nothing happened. So what's going to happen in the next 2 years? Well, things did happen in COVID, but it was at a standstill. There's a lot to unpack with the whole renewing. You mentioned blockages, anything that's blocking me. I would say there was a point in my life, I believe it was around 2015, 2016, I think. When did I leave university? I left university 2014. So maybe that, because during those years, I can't remember them, because I've been affected by a lot of things during those years, to the point where I can't remember, not speaking to anybody, or just ghosted, or didn't go out much. I just can't remember those years, surprisingly. But I think it was around...
Actually not that surprising.
Yeah.
When we face trauma, we tend to try to block it out naturally.
Okay. But I literally cannot remember. So I think it's 2014 to maybe 16. I was doing my live music events. Yes. And that was a major time in my life where I feel, I was really at my peak.
That's Lovemore Music?
Yeah, it was Lovemore Music. Great platform, by the way, if you've if you've been to one of the events in the past, or you've seen it on YouTube. It was old school meets new school, and I had, the likes of Shaylingo, Footsie, Nikes and Nike, and new artists, Shauna Sade, artists on the platform like that. And it was just a point where everyone was just rising, unsigned and signed. Things were happening in the events industry. A lot was happening until my parents got divorced. During that time, it was challenging because I was at the peak of my age. I was connected to a lot of people. There was a lot of opportunities. I didn't realise that the divorce would have impacted me so much. the effects it had on me, I didn't realise I would react that way. I literally mentally just shut down. I can't even remember how I was acting or who I was connected with, what I was doing. It's just, it's crazy to me how much, you know, something like that can change your character, change how you view life and how you treat other people based on what you've witnessed yourself in your household.
That's interesting you say that. So you was at the peak of you building your business, right? Putting on events, loving that period of time. And the divorce with your parents, essentially someone else's life. Something happening in someone else's life. Yes, it's happening to you as well, but it's happening to your mum and dad, right?
Yeah.
What would you say was, so you've touched on the different effects, what would you say was the worst kind of effect on your business? What one of those side effects affected your business the most at the time?
I felt I had to be around a lot for
your parents?
For my family.
Okay, yeah.
6 of us, including me. Big family.
That's your siblings?
Siblings. So I have 4. Well, it's 4 altogether. Yeah. So I'm the second eldest.
Yeah.
So during that time, we're all, you know, my sister's 37 now. So she would have been my age, 30 at the time. And my youngest brother and younger sister, my younger sister, I think she was like 14. My brother was maybe 17. So within that age group, you can imagine the emotions and the different reactions in the household. But I've always felt like the grounded one, always ready for something. So I was always around. So coming away from my events, I felt I had to be there, of course, for my family. But I feel the main effects was the support of my dad. My dad went to every single event of mine. He helped me. I did everything. I sourced the artists, found the venue. I did a lot of work behind the scenes. But I feel the most thing that really affected me was the support from my dad. So me doing another event within that time, I don't really class it as just something that I just had to get out of my system because it was pending, but he wasn't there, you know? So that's when I really took myself away from that environment, from doing events, because I felt, why do I need to be happy in this setting if my dad's not there?
That's really interesting. Did you feel like there's a part of you that doesn't deserve to be happy? Or was that happiness of doing the events tied to an expectation that your dad had of you?
Yes, because my dad's got a family business. He's got a business, and because I've always grown up in a household where I see business,
right,
automatically, oh my gosh, what can I do? What can I sell? What product or service can I create? So I've always come from that background. It's been instilled into me, you know, eventually, I don't want you working for somebody else. You should be working for yourself. You've got all the talent, you've got the skill set, you know how to do accounting, you know, the stage, and doing this, doing that for the family business. That gave me a big, you know, opportunity, foot through the door with my career.
And that was all your dad's influence?
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, thinking about it, I feel I've only really functioned in business, and I was around friends, but not so much. Some friends may or not know, they may find out now. Birthdays will come up, important occasions will come up, and I won't go because I'm thinking about business. Or at the time I was working in a private production company in the media on, you know, different shopping channels, working in that environment as well. And I've just declined birthday invitation because I want to make my money, I want to succeed. So with that, there's risks involved. But yeah, going back to your question, again, yeah, my dad, big influence in business, absolutely.
So that's where you kind of associated putting on another event, but him not being there means that essentially it's not going to work anymore, it's not going to feel the same anymore, so I'm just not going to do it anymore.
It was more of, again, it's more of being there for the family and actually acknowledging and accepting what's happened. So think of it this way, picture it, you know, you're at your peak, you're doing events, something traumatic to you happens. To me, that's traumatic. I don't want to label myself as a child as a divorce, but maybe I am. And the parent not there, it's like an empty shell. It's like I can do it. I can do events. I can put them on. It's like I put them on and I stand in the background by the door when the door's shut and let the event happen. You know, I've got my team doing the running order, doing everything they need to do. And I just let it happen because my dad's not there, or what am I doing really? What is there to live for? I feel like my foundation's been crumbled. My hub, my home, my hub has been shaken, you know? And I feel everyone's just literally detached, like a bubble burst. So my motivation, and that I used to get every day, eating dinner at the table, having motivational talks in the kitchen, that's gone. That outlet's gone. So who do I really talk to? Because I felt that because my dad's got the business head, I directly speak to him because he is my go-to. And I didn't have any other outlet.
Right.
That was something as well. So even speaking to certain friends at the time, or some people who I feel would have helped me, they just didn't get it. My dad got it. And I'm a very private person. And I keep my cards close to my chest. So when it comes to your goals and what it is you want to do, like I just offloaded to my dad. I was like, I told one person who should know everything. I was like, yeah, I'll tell my dad, man. This is what I want to do and that. And I didn't have an outlet. That was it really. That is why I really stopped the events, because everything just stopped. And then I didn't really know how I was processing after. Can't remember.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's not crazy because what I say is crazy is how someone's identity is so linked to a particular thing or a particular person. And when that foundation is crumbled, how much it affects, right? So after that now, you've stopped events. Did you go in what did you do after that?
So after that, I went into interviewing. So I started my interviewing again. So interviewing was the first thing I ever did. Then I went into events. Then I went back to what I knew, which was interviewing. So, but I was doing behind the scenes. And at the time, it was a project called Tune of the Week, where I invited, you know, certain artists to sit on the couch, speak about their song and the lyrics behind it. So, for example, a song could be happy, but really it's a sad meaning behind it.
Yeah.
I could have easily sat on the sofa with them and interviewed them, but instead I just let them speak. So in someone else's eyes, Kimberley, why didn't you sit on the sofa? You had the equipment there. Why don't you just sit down and interview them, ask them the questions? I didn't want to. I didn't want to put my face out there. I still wanted to drive some sort of creativity out there and me not be at the forefront, because I felt I wasn't ready to have my face out there. I just wanted to be behind the scenes.
And sorry, that just reminded me of our initial conversation that we ever had a couple weeks ago. And you said to me that whilst you're in this renewing yourself, it's now time for you to come out and speak about who you are.
Yeah.
And make Kimberley Lovemore come into the forefront. So
yeah.
I said it to you then, but I think I said it to you. I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I commend you for doing this and coming onto the Promisingpreneur, because it does take guts to be on the other side. Like, I I done it a few weeks ago for myself, where I had my production manager interviewing me about my life, and I was just like, shit, this is different. It's like, this is a bit weird, but it takes a lot to come and speak about what happens in your life and be open about that. And I remember saying to you that your truth is going to help so much more people, because they're probably going through the same thing, but they don't have the confidence, or they don't have an outlet to be able to speak about these things. But just knowing and hearing your story about what divorce did to you and what the effects were, and the fact that you stopped business based on the attachment that you had, that you're not alone in that. And there's so many more people out there that I actually know personally that have gone through very similar situations and lost their identity in that period, and felt really bad about it and didn't have anybody to speak to about it. Now, I've never gone through a divorce because none of my parents was, my dad's married now, but my mum wasn't married. And so I don't know what divorce feels like, but I definitely do understand or can relate to what a crumbling foundation feels like, or not having a stable foundation. And I've even spoken to Nissy T, where she spoke about just for a period of time knowing your life to be a certain way, and then realizing that, oh, actually it's not that way. So she spoke about she didn't realize that there was financial issues within the family. Everything was just kind of covered over, because she was a child at the time, right? And then eventually get to a particular teenager, and it's like, no, actually we've got financial troubles. And then that was like, oh shit. Now the sense of responsibility, which I hear from you as well, that sense of responsibility now is on your shoulders to hold up your brothers and sisters, and to hold up the rest of the family and your own emotions and everyone else's emotions. What is the thing that allowed you, because I don't know if you literally just said it or if you said it off camera, because we literally had a full-blown conversation off camera, but what was it that was the moment in time where you realized that you had this block and you needed to let it go? What was happening in your life that made that block show up more? Because you said that you were just functioning, that you wasn't conscious of how you was functioning, it was just happening, right? After that point,
autopilot. Yeah.
So after that autopilot, what was happening in that autopilot that made you say, actually, no, wait, something's not right?
Expectations. I would get people who are close to me, family and friends, or my network. Oh, Kimberley, when are you doing this interview? Or Kimberley, when's your next event? I haven't seen you on Twitter. I haven't seen you on Instagram. Where you been? You know, phone calls or messages and conversations throughout time. You know, my response will be, yeah, I'll do it. But them not knowing what's actually going on. So in their eyes, they have an expectation of me and what they see me doing. It's like, Kimberley, you're doing so much. Like, how are you doing it? And I can't wait to go to the next event. And do you know what it was for me? I'll say maybe 2-3 years ago, I went back into the Lovemore media account, and people were still emailing me saying, I'd love to appear on your, I'd love to perform at your event. I would love for you to interview me. And I'm thinking, I haven't put anything out. How are you even remembering me? Where do you see my work? Because I haven't even put anything out new, and I haven't even been in contact with, anyone in the music industry. So I think at that point it's like, wow, what are you doing with yourself? You made an impact. Yeah, and I didn't realise, because to me, I'm just doing work. You know, I'm doing things that I love. And although there's a lot of things in my mind that I would love to do, it's hard to explain because there was so much going on. During that time of the divorce, there was still creative ideas going around in my head, and there was nowhere to put it. There was no one to talk to. So if someone said, why can't you do it, Kim? I can't tell them what I'm going through or how I'm feeling. So in a way, I was maybe numb and still walking around as if I was still 25, 24, 25. I'm still Kimberley Lovemore. I've done this, I've done that. But I ain't done nothing. But in my head, I'm still glued to those events, or I'm still glued to certain interviews that I've done. Yeah, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. Okay, what are you doing now? That was it for me. Where is the content? Where is the work? That was it for me, I would say.
How does that make you feel, the fact that because that, I'll be honest with you, that I can kind of resonate with what you've just said. Because I was actually talking to my therapist about that this morning. I spoke to my therapist about feeling like an imposter. So that imposter syndrome, that fraud, like feeling like a fraud, based on the fact that I'm riding off of the coattails of my past. Because I'm not there anymore, and I'm not showing up the way I was.
Yeah.
I'm riding off of what I did show up as. But if I think about it, it feels like so many years ago.
Yeah.
So now when I try to show up, I feel like an imposter.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be there anymore. And
like you've missed your boat, babes. Chill.
Exactly that. And do you know what it is for me as well? You start seeing people coming up, and I was once there, and I'll tell you something actually. I won't say the person's name, but I called up a mainstream presenter. You've seen their face before. And I was talking to him. I was like, "Hi, it's Kimberley. I don't know if you know who I am or if you remember me." He was like, "Kimberley, what's going on? Of course I remember you. Like, what? Are you living under a rock? Like, I've still got your number. What's going on? Of course I'm going to remember you." And I felt a bit silly, because I then offloaded and started speaking to him about, can I come to this event? Or because I felt I lost contact. He was like, "Of course you can come. What's happening? What's going on? Why are you acting brand new? Why are you speaking to me as if I don't know you, that you don't belong here?" And I think that was another thing for me as well. It's like, I'm in a shell of myself, and I'm creeping back into the scene again.
Yeah.
So other people view me as Kimberley Lovemore, but I don't view myself as her.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm living in, and what I'm trying to process even now.
I relate.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely it's weird. It's like this out of body experience.
Yeah.
But you're in this out of body for so long, it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
Mate. So if we bring it forward to, not even that much forward, but Melanin Style Diaries. You started Melanin Style Diaries as a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I started Melanin Style Diary in August 2018. That's when I was actually working. I remember creating the page on the way to work. And
full-time work in another industry?
Yeah, so full-time work. I was a senior consultant at David Lloyd at the time. And I remember I was walking through Kidbrook Park, and I was creating the page, came off the train, I created the page. Because at the time I was putting out content. But I specifically, to answer your question, the page was made because there wasn't platforms for bloggers and individuals in the fashion, lifestyle, food and drink industry being seen. It was always, women of colour with 10k, 20k, 30k following, and someone who's got 800 to maybe 1k followers, they were not getting a looking. Their content was just as good as a 10k following, but they were not being seen. And I felt to myself, this has got to stop now, and we need a meaningful platform. I'm going to create it, because I too was putting out content. I was, you know, being paid to wear clothes. I was getting things sent to me and food and drink to put out on Instagram at the time. And again, I felt I wasn't being seen. So that's why I created a platform to provide that space, to provide a community for bloggers who have a lower following with great content to be on the page. And there are quite a few bloggers now who have soared by being on the page and building that relationship up with them. And Melanin Style Diary is more than just posting a picture. It's a place where you can build your confidence. I'm literally at the other end of the phone. You can call me, you can DM me if you have, you know, any ideas that you want to put towards a platform, because it's not only my platform, it's the bloggers' platform as well, because they too contribute to the page. And it wasn't there. I mean, you have the odd pages here and there to be posted, but there wasn't that little more to create that community and want to be a part of the page as well. So that's why I created Melanin Style Diary. So what I did was, coming away from the events now, I'm a creative. There's so many ideas flowing through me, and it was a different outlet for me to regain my confidence and to put myself out there again in the capacity that I thought I needed to put myself out there. So a lot of people really resonated with the page, and it's thriving till this day.
What's your, this doesn't have to be set in stone, but what's your bigger plan for Melanin Style Diary?
My bigger plan, so
like, as in, does it stay on Instagram, or is there more?
So it won't stay on Instagram. I'll have a website. I will have a space. I will have product, and I will be overseas. That's what I'll say about the page. I recently did a live introducing myself. So for 4 years, I was hidden. Nobody knew who was running the page. I was uploading my friends. They didn't even know I was behind the page. So we'll have discussions about the page. Oh, what do you think about Melanin Style Diary? Yes, oh my gosh, they posted me. They really liked my outfit. And I was like, yeah, they posted me as well. They didn't know it was me. It was quite funny.
That is mad.
But do you know what it is? It's a feel-good factor. The fact that I made my friends smile, or, you know, other people smile, because they are getting a look in. They are being acknowledged. They're being appreciated with their creativity, being able to really show who they are, have an outlet to show who they are. You can imagine, you are a fashionista in itself.
Thank you.
I posted you. So
do you know what? I knew it.
I posted you.
No, I knew it. I knew that's why I was following you. I knew it. This was years ago though.
Yeah.
Okay, go carry on.
I was like, I love her style. And funny thing is, like I said, I thought I already knew you.
That is crazy.
I thought I already knew you anyway. So yeah, I posted you because your fashion is eccentric, it's out of this world. I would never even think of putting certain colour combos together like you. All right? So even your hair right now, that shows your personality, and this is what it is. The page shows personality, and you get like-minded people on the page as well. So Melanin Style Diary, there's a lot that's happening with the page, and that's where I'm pouring my all into now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for posting me, by the way.
It's okay.
Do you know what?
I had to.
I don't even know how. Because when you showed up on my Instagram, I'd followed you since then.
Okay.
So I'd watched the page kind of grow, but obviously I didn't have a reason to speak to you or to say anything at the time. And look at that. Years later, I'm not sitting in my red chair, honey. But no, that's crazy. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit and touch on working full time, being a creative, knowing that you have this creative ability, but also having to navigate real life.
Yeah.
And when I say navigate real life, I mean pay bills, do adult shit.
Yeah. Big time.
How do you navigate that? And has that ever been difficult for you? So you work full-time now, or you work part-time now?
So I work full-time.
Yeah.
I'm in management in the health and fitness industry.
Nice.
So before that and now, I would say I was taking a lot of annual leave to do what I love. So to me, working in the media, you know, most people, if they haven't got, you know, a fixed job in the media, is freelance or contract basis. So I couldn't even be on contract or go full time because I was already in a full time position that was paying very well. So I wasn't going to move. However, there was an outlet, annual leave, and that was my sacrifice to myself. Rather than jet setting away in the sun, I said, you know, I'm still building myself, my brand, and also I have a love for media. So I'm going to take my annual leave, whether it's 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, I'm going to go for as long as they need me working on a particular show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I sacrificed my own annual leave.
Wow. So that's a constant work rate.
If you're enjoying this podcast so far, this is only going to annoy you if you're a hater. Click subscribe, click follow, and drop a quick comment. And if you've done all of those already, then send me a 5-star review, because honestly, it's the only way we survive on the internet. Thank you.
Why are you in a full-time job and not just doing creative stuff?
Because I saw different avenues and I saw different skill sets of mine that I was able to take advantage of. So I'm very good at speaking to others and selling, being able to provide a service for others in the health and fitness industry, you know, whether that's selling memberships, upselling experiences within the field as well. And I said, hold on, you know, me doing presenting, interviewing, working in sales, it goes hand in hand because I'm always in a client-based role. That's why I never left, because it's stability, and I was able to still present myself in a way of getting to know others and thriving in that lane, and then sacrificing my annual leave to go into media. So I knew that, you know, there was I was always having an open door to where I eventually want to be. So that worked for me, because the roles that I was taking up in the media or any projects or opportunities, I made it work because I had the ways and means. Even speaking to, you know, higher up, my line manager, for example, they understood what I did. You know what, Kimberley, take that day off. We won't market, just go, because this is your future. And, you know, not many companies would do that. So I found ways to, you know, keep my passion and work alive.
That's quite interesting. So, right, you said a keyword that a lot of creatives crave because we need it: stability.
Yeah.
And that stability of income, having a continuous, constant stream of income. A lot of creatives are in that boat where they need a constant stream of income because adult costs money.
Yeah.
Being an adult costs money. But also there are some creatives that wouldn't, like myself, I could never go into a full-time job knowing that I wanted to do something creative if that job wasn't specific to something I was doing or something I wanted to do in the future, if it wasn't going to benefit me in a particular way other than the money, right?
Yeah.
So for you now, because I know there was a number of creators that are currently in full-time jobs and don't do their creativity on the side because they've retired after work, or they don't think about taking that annual leave to do their creativity because they think, oh, I want a jet set, or a soft life. Like, I work so hard, I want to do, like, reap the rewards of working so hard, or whatever it may be. So why is it, and at what point do you think you will be ready to say, I'm going to park this now and just do my creativity?
I actually can't give you an answer, because I've made it work for me.
Right.
And, you know, having multiple streams of income, whether that's getting paid your salary and then some, whether that's, you know, selling clothes or being paid to edit a video, you know, you make it work for yourself. I don't think I'll ever draw away unless I have a particular amount of money to say, you know what, I'll be good for this amount of time. I can step away to really pursue that particular role or title in that media company. So it's a safety net. So with me, I made sure that there's different notches to me. And it's good to really know how far you can push yourself as a creative person. How can you make life work for you without feeling stressful or you're losing your creativity? Because going back to what you said about creatives having to work in a full-time role and not being able to dip into their creativity, some people who don't understand the creative world, they'll say you've given up. Someone said to me, oh, so yeah, the industry is a bit fickle, isn't it? So you thought you would just go and have a stable role. That was very, in my eyes, offensive. That was very offensive. How dare you? You're basically stamping on my... Yeah, I was like, that made me change the way I was thinking about a full-time role. You haven't given up. You are just in a timeline where you have to build up your money to be comfortable, then to go back into creativity. So all these naysayers and people who don't believe in you, they don't understand you. They're not your people. They stick to your creative world. And what allowed me to navigate was, I said, this role here that I'm doing that will bring in my income, this is not me anyway. I'm the creative me is where I function the best. So I'm in this role because you're helping me to get to where I want to be. Because I'm someone out of this said title in this company. I'm a creative, I'm so-and-so. So if I left this company and you Google me, oh, she's this. That's how I view it, being a creative.
So it's your stepping stone.
It's my stepping stone. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that, because there was a couple of things I would have not challenged you on, but I would have just been like, is that you not 100% believing in yourself to be risk averse, right? Because being in a full-time role or having that stability is risk averse. It's smart, right? It's bloody smart, because doing it the other way around, it's stressful.
You're putting yourself in a situation that...
It's stressful. It is, definitely. But there is also an element of, as much as it is stressful, is like you're banking on yourself 100%, as opposed to having a safety net, right? And that's where I sit on that spectrum, right? Like I will go guns blazing, all in, and there is no way it can't work, because the only way it won't work is if I stop doing it, right? Because I don't have a safety net. So I will do whatever it takes to ensure that X, Y, and Z is working. Promisingpreneur is working. My startup CREATALAND works. When I was doing Vividly Creative and I had my salon, that was working. I would just do it until either I'm dead and I'm not dead yet, or I have a change of heart and I want to do something else, right? So that's where I sit on the spectrum. But there is a number of people that sit on your end of the spectrum, where it's like, no, actually, the smart way to go about it, in your opinion, is have a safety net, use it as a stepping stone. But what happens if you get stuck in the safety net and you don't take the leap? What happens then?
Again, I hate saying this saying, case by case. I hate saying that. You know, I'll give you an example. So I was working in a company, toxic. Effective immediately, I left. I was 2 months out of work. I was okay because I had the safety net. But then that kind of steered me towards my creativity. I want to start making my own money. I've got all this skill set. I want to sell this. I want to do this now. And it's getting yourself back into that function. Okay, how are you going to do this? It's like open up another can of worms. How am I going to do this in this capacity? So to answer your question, again, it depends on your environment. It depends on what you're okay to do and what you're okay to put yourself in. So me leaving and being out of work for 2 months, right? That just, again, go back to renewing myself. Okay, what are you going to do with yourself? You know, you're okay now until you need to pay your rent on the 3rd month. Where's your pay packet then? So it forces you to obviously make money. Who are you? What can you do with this time off? It unbirths a lot of things within you. So if that safety net wasn't there, I'll be screwed. That's why I knew that I have to have money. I have to. And I won't, you know, knock on wood, wherever the wood is. I won't put myself in that situation, and I hope something doesn't happen where I'm having to be uncomfortable now. Where am I going to go to? You know, what do I do? Because everyone has a choice. Yeah. And I've made my choices. Things of the whole upheaval with my family, my dad going through divorce, that was a big wake-up call. Because then I can't rely on my parents because they're going through what they're going through. How do I function within myself? So a lot of it blends. That's why I said I'll always have a safety net, because anything can happen.
One thing I would definitely say is knowing yourself. Right, that's what I was going to ask you. Have you ever felt that uncomfortability?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I said I would never not have a safety net.
What did that?
You know,
what did that uncomfortability? Is that the word? Uncomfortable. Wait, I don't even know. Don't even listen to me.
Feeling uncomfortable.
I've got like a muffled brain right now, so she's not even talking straight. But that uncomfortability, what did that feel like for you?
No man's land.
Okay.
Where do I belong? Who do I go to? Because no one knows my life. I haven't shared anything with anyone. So think of it like this. No longer in a family home. Everyone has to go their separate ways. The door's shut on you. Where do you go? Do you sign up to the council so you're homeless? Do you start bidding? Do you start asking relatives, can I stay with you? In my eyes, I was abandoned, you know? So if I didn't have particular people in my life, I have to actually think, where would I have been? Because it's literally no man's land. That was me being uncomfortable. And I had money, absolutely. I was still working in my role, and I'll be very honest with you. Actually, I'll be very transparent. Only live once, and I don't really care anymore. So, you know, I even went to the council, and they said, "Well, on paper, you earn enough to be renting, mate. You know, you ain't getting a house." Where my friends, some people were living at home with their mum and dad. They were declaring homeless, mum writing a letter and that. I thought it'd be easy. With me, I'm very much about morality. And I can't lie and put myself in that situation because I don't want that to be put onto me. I haven't, not to say it wouldn't happen, again, touch wood. Yeah. However, I'm very much speaking life into myself.
That problem, yeah.
And I'm not declaring that on my life to fake being homeless, going to the council just to get a home. I've heard all these stories through generations, how people get their home. You know, kudos to them for having a roof over their head. Do what you have to do living in this country. But I'm not putting my own mouth on myself to say I'm in that position. So I'm not doing that. Again, what do I do? So again, like it was just very uncomfortable. I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just very uncomfortable. But even that, you know, a family member said, go to the council. I said, no, I'm not going there. I'm not homeless. There's other people who are in a dire situation than me. I'm not rocking up there and doing that. And I went to them for advice. I said, I earned this much. They said, you can go rent. If you're really in a hard situation, then we'll have to put you up in, like
a hostel.
It was like a first night centre, it was called.
Yeah.
And I stayed with a friend after, and then my situation improved after that anyway. So again, even in the face of adversity and me being uncomfortable, I was still thinking about my life and how I should navigate through it. It's crazy. I had to go to the park, sit on the bench, and I said, what am I doing? Like, I can't call my dad because my dad's living his life. My mum's doing what she had to do to go through her emotions. I don't want to disturb that. My sister, my brother, everyone, my little sister's at uni, everyone's gone their separate ways. What about me? I felt abandoned, you know? So maybe did I do it to myself because I didn't explain it to my friends, but I was secretive. Like, again, my friends saw me as, Kimberley, you're in a big family, you're in a big home, you're good, you're fine. But behind closed doors, mate, you don't even know. You know what I mean? So, majorly, yes. To answer your question, I have been uncomfortable. Yeah. In other people's eyes, oh, that's not uncomfortable. But our story's already written. Some people will be able to get through divorce. That's my trauma. Again, I don't want to label it, but am I a child of divorce? Is it something I'm still processing?
Yeah. Because
that was traumatic for me.
Yeah.
Living in a 2-parent household, and then it's just crumbled.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, your whole sanctuary's gone. So you are by yourself. So without having that family unit, like I mentioned, that hub, where do I go?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do I do now? You know, I keep on working. Where do I live? Because I've been forgotten, you know?
And creativity don't pay the bills.
Yeah, creativity don't pay the bills. I know I'm saying a lot, but it does go hand in hand because that was a major blockage. And like you said, yeah, creativity doesn't pay the bills. So that's where you have to work. No matter what job you have to do, money is coming in. So now goes to the point of like, do I keep pursuing my creativity? Yes, because it's within me. I'm never going to go. Do I pursue a certain title, management? Do I keep trying to go down that path? Or do I just get any old job just to make ends meet? Because I was still young, you know, but I had to make decisions to keep on going because life keeps happening.
Yeah.
Life is lifing.
Life is lifing, honey.
You know?
No, I get it. I think there's a lot to unpack when it comes to sustaining yourself as a creative solely 100%. And there is a part of me which I kind of mentioned before that is so invested in allowing or showing creatives how they can continuously monetize through their creativity, as opposed to having to do something that they're not so chuffed at doing, right? Like you've got a massive amount of resilience about you. There is a resilience about you for you to say, do you know what, I've got to do what I've got to do. And that level of like, F what you think, it doesn't matter what you think. I've still got to live and have my safety, which is commendable. There is a lot of people out there, myself included, secretly, would rather struggle and would rather go through. I feel like me not having money is, and this is where everyone's individual, right? Yeah. Me not having money, but doing what I love, as and when I do it, is better than me spending my time doing something that is just for the money. Yeah. Like, I genuinely, and like I have an actual complex, I think, right? Because I've been spoiled by being able to see, when I done lashes, not even, I say I've been spoiled, right? But I read Rich Dad Poor Dad as a teenager, right? And Rich Dad Poor Dad, and also my dad, right? My dad was always, he ran his own business, but then he also went into sales. And he turned around and said to me, look, at the end of the day, if you do a sales role, it means that you are half in control of the money you make. Right?
Absolutely.
Because it allows you to have a base income, which if you keep your bills within your base income, you're good. Yeah. Anything you earn on top,
it's a bonus.
It's extra, right? And if you go into a sales role, you have control over that, because the more you work, the more you sell, the more you make.
It's your sales desk. It's your personal business.
Exactly. Yeah. So I had a complex. If I wasn't in a sales role where I could half earn more than I'm told for the amount of time that I'm spending, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If it's not a sales role, I'm not doing it. Why? Because now this amount of time, so I spend 8 hours in my day, 9 hours of my day commuting, going to this job, and this is the amount that I'm going to make.
Yeah.
But I've been putting in 20 times more effort, 15 times more effort, blah, blah, blah. Or I've been staying 2 hours extra.
Yeah.
And that time's not accounted for.
It's not.
So then when I started doing my own business at 17, 18, and I started doing lashes, and I would make and this is how I saw it. I work 8 hours in a day. If I'm earning, I don't know, 25, 30,000, I'm working 40 hours a week, right? I'm earning 30,000 in a year. I'm looking at, what's that, £100 a day, £120 a day, I think, right? I made that in 1 hour doing lashes.
Nice.
I would charge 100 to 150 pounds to do a set of lashes. Some infills would take me 45 minutes, and I would charge 60 to 80 pounds.
You're laughing.
Me work
money.
9 hours to earn the same amount.
Yeah.
No fucking chance.
Yeah. Facts.
Spot me. Completely spot
Facts.
me. So you see now, when I've kind of like, so through COVID, I was like, okay, cool. Like, do I get a job now, or like, can I reinvent myself and rebuild and do something else, or like, what do I do? During that period, I thought to myself, okay, maybe I should just get a job and get a mortgage and like gain a bit of stability now. Like, I'm growing up, like, got an adult now. And then I looked at the time that I'll be spending, and then I looked at the salary, and I'm like,
yeah, that add up.
that does not add up.
Yeah.
I could work a whole day and an exact same amount that I would earn in an hour and a half, 2 hours. There is no fucking chance I'm going into a job.
Yeah.
You see that? That was my catalyst of saying, I'm never going to go in a full-time role unless you're paying me 150 to 200,000 for that year to allow me. And I say that with a pinch of salt now, right? Because circumstances change.
Yeah.
And everyone's circumstances change, and things always differ, right?
Yeah.
Like, things may happen in your life and you're like, do you know what, actually I need the stability. So like, to get a mortgage, I'm like, okay, do you know what, I need a mortgage now.
You need proof.
The easiest way, or the fastest way for me to get a mortgage is work 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't need to work after that 3 months. I just need to get the mortgage approved.
Yeah.
Things like that, using it as a stepping stone, have a plan, do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But one thing I would definitely say is a lot of people that have started full-time roles as creatives have ended up staying stuck within that because they are so comfortable, but then years down the line they end up hating the fact that they stayed comfortable and not pursuing, and get to 40, 50, 60 odd years old and didn't make the transition from saying, do you know what, I'm going to be uncomfortable for a little bit so I can now pursue and 100% bank on my creativity because I've been putting my time and effort into building someone else's dream and someone else's business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And with saying that, that's why, going back to what I said about using the company for a stepping stone for you to pursue whatever you want to do in your creativity. That's just what you need to do. And a lot of people, I've had family members that say in their 40s, 50s, what do I do with myself? I've got these skills and, I wish I continue with this. All this wishing, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Get on with it.
Yeah.
What is actually stopping you? If you're in a comfortable position and you know that nothing's happening right now, you don't have to struggle to achieve so much. Not everyone goes through that struggle life, you know, to say, yes, I deserve this now. Put yourself in a position and say, you know what, I'm ready now. What is actually stopping you? You're stopping yourself because you are. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of yourself? Are you afraid of living within your potential or living within your rewards? Some people are actually scared of being in that winning mindset because it's so positive.
Yeah.
And sometimes people in that low vibration, they're comfortable in that, whether it's guilt or being uncomfortable, or I like it here because I function better here. You need to function on the other side of fear. I know it's easier said than done, but it needs to be done very soon because time is ticking. Nobody knows when their last day will be, okay? And COVID showed us that. So if anything, you need to do things now because you're going to be 30, you're going to be 40, you're going to be 50. Time is still going to go by, and within that time, you could have done something. Just do it.
Literally.
Like Shia LaBeouf, just do it.
No.
It's like you'll feel so much better about yourself. And, you know, maybe going off topic, but, you know, I've spoken to people recently and it's actually irritating me now. Oh, Kimberley, you've done this, you've done that. Oh, I wish I was a bit like you. And first of all, you should never wish to be like somebody. You don't know how they take life.
Really are.
But you know, I had to go through certain things to feel like I'm in a certain position to get on with it. Now, whatever fear or whatever trauma you went through is for you to get through it. But some people are unproblematic. There's nothing happening in their life for them not to do anything. And that's what's irritating me. Hearing it every day on the phone or hearing it in conversation is actually annoying now because you've got money, you've got a roof over your head, you're working, get on and do it. It's irritating.
Yeah. Instead of finding the next rave or party to go to.
Yeah.
Take an hour out.
Yeah.
An hour a day.
Yeah. Literally.
An hour a day goes a long way.
Absolutely. Yes, there you go.
I don't even know if that's a thing, but I'm saying it anyway. I respect you. I respect you for just knowing and being self-aware. Like there's one thing that I continuously say is self-awareness is the most crucial thing people need to gain and build, right? Because I don't think self-awareness just comes from nowhere. It comes from having to deal with things and reflecting.
Experiences.
Yeah.
But then you don't want to get stuck in survival mode. So there's self-awareness and then there's survival mode.
But self-awareness is good and bad, right? And when I say good and bad, as in like being self-aware when things are good, but also being self-aware when things are bad. Yeah. So self-awareness across the board.
Yeah.
Because
can be a hindrance.
Yeah. See, honestly, I think self-awareness is the key. Because the more self-aware you are, the more gratitude you hold.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
The less self-aware you are, the less gratitude you hold. The more self-aware you are, the more understanding you are.
Absolutely.
And emotionally intelligent. And those, I genuinely believe, is the keys of life, right? That self-awareness. Because things will be going wrong and you can say, okay, cool, things are going on and it's making me feel X, Y, and Z, right? As long as you have that understanding, you now have a choice. But when you are not self-aware, you don't even have the choice to come out of the feeling that you're in because you don't even know that you're going through what you're going through, right? So that's what I mean by self-awareness. It's paramount in people's lives, and especially as creatives, right? Because creative people are emotional people.
Big time.
And because we are emotional, we have all these different expressions and outlets through music, through art, through fashion, through media, through whatever it is, through dance, through movement. There is a point that you need to understand that if you've got to do what you've got to do as a stepping stone, that doesn't make you any less of creative. But having self-awareness allows you to know that. So it doesn't dwindle your kind of identity.
Yes.
It doesn't dwindle your self-belief in your creativity. And I'm saying that to tell myself, to be honest with you. Like, it's come up because I know that I need to tell myself that. Because there's definitely a situation in my life at this point in time that I have to really process and deal with, which feels like an existential crisis. But I have to understand that there is steps.
Yeah.
And I can use stepping stones, and I don't have to make it
Absolutely.
harder for myself.
Because the work is still there, the content's still there.
Yeah.
And I feel, to add to that, as a creative, you feel like you have to keep producing content all the time. In the world of social media, 3 days is like a week.
Yeah.
3 days of not uploading something is like a week.
Yeah.
And to us, you know, you're on like a, what do you call it, a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You have to keep going to stay consistent and to be relevant.
Yeah.
But I feel that, you know, if there's substance to your work and the audience know the content, they'll understand the absence. You're coming away from the fast food content.
Yeah.
People are used to that, but the 3 to 10 seconds of excitement, entertainment, whereas, you know, where we can relate the field that we're in, it's evergreen, it's tangible. The content will always be relevant, so that we can take that time out.
Yes.
Because there's always nuggets, there's always gems to take from our content.
Yeah, 100%.
So taking our time, I feel you can absolutely do. Again, it depends on the foundation that you create for yourself and the lane that you choose to go down. If you want to be known as a fast food person, then people are going to keep eating. You don't even know how they're digesting your content.
Eating and spitting out.
Yeah.
Really?
You know?
Yeah.
But then on the other side of the slow content, like people do slow fashion, the slow content is still meaningful. And I think that's a gem of being in that lane.
Yeah. That long form content.
Yeah.
Definitely. I do think that I found something that I am genuinely like loving.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely loving this process. Even through all the things that happen behind the scenes and stuff, like I love this process.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I actually started doing it, because there was definitely a point that it could have just not happened.
Yeah.
And there's a number of people that have actually come to me recently and gone, we spoke about doing a podcast like last year, and like you're actually doing it. Like, how did you actually do it? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean, how did I do it? I just
did it.
Done it.
Yeah.
And stayed doing it.
Just did it, yeah.
Why are you not doing it?
That's a question, literally.
Why are you
That's
not
a
doing it?
question.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean, how did I do it? I've got a camera,
Yeah.
3 cameras, I got a director,
Yeah.
got
I
someone
did
to
it.
help me with admin because I hate admin. And
You created your own table. You created your own outlet. And I think with saying that, a lot of people always question, how did you do it? You know? But some people are not on the journey of you even getting there. They only see it in its final form. Yeah. Oh, how did she do it? Oh, how do they do it? Yeah. You know? And that's when the questions start coming. Can you help me? Can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, you know, kudos to you. Congratulations, you did it. But how? But you already knew.
it's simple.
Yeah, it is very simple.
It wasn't that hard.
Just applying yourself. That's it. Yeah. Like a light bulb, just apply yourself and it will happen.
Yeah.
As they call manifest and have your vision boards, and just anything you have in mind, just do it.
Literally.
The one life we have, you know, I know some people's lives may be harder, and something's always going to be happening in our life. It's never going to be positive all the time. But in the blissful days, just accept it and just create, you know, your own table, or do what you want to do in life. It's not even about being creative, it's about life itself. And that goes to what I said to you when we had a previous conversation about I love life.
Oh, yeah.
And you were not having it. You was like, no, Kimberley, what do you mean? I don't want you to say you love life.
Sorry, no,
There's
so a
more
bit of
to you than
backstory. Bit of backstory. This was the first day that we'd actually had a conversation over FaceTime or whatever it was. And I was trying to get to know Kimberley before bringing her onto the podcast. And I asked her, what was the question I asked you? I was just like, what's your ambition? That's what I asked you. I said, what's your ambition? And you was like, to love life.
Yeah. But then I was going to elaborate, but then that's the first thing
I said, stop being fluffy. I said, stop being fluffy. What does that mean?
And then we unpacked a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, to answer that wholeheartedly now, right?
Yeah.
The inner me, the inner child, me having emotions, me feeling however I am connected to this world, this life, this realm, whatever you want to call it. Life has a lot to give, but you have to give to it too. And just being happy you are alive. That's why I love life, because every day, you know, again, God's fair life, I'm alive every day.
Yeah.
So what is there not to be happy about? Because you can always make a change. Everybody has a choice. Yes. I respect that everyone has, you know, a different path and walk in life. But with the life you have, and especially if we are living in London, in a third world country, we should not be having no problems. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we have resources, we have outlets to have a fabulous life. It's just what we do with it. And that's what I mean about, you know, loving life and just getting on. I think COVID was, I know I keep talking about COVID, but COVID was a crazy time. And it was a very crazy time for me. A lot of things were revealed within that time. And that's what's keeping me going, my love for life. Yeah.
No, I love that. And on that note, I'm going to ask you one thing. The one thing that you would advise the next media mogul or the next person coming up in the world of Instagram, what would you say is the one thing that they should focus on when starting?
They should focus on what they love, focus on their network and where their content goes. So I'll say network first, absolutely, having a foundation and being able to envision yourself in the end goal. Like, what is your end goal? Always have an end goal. Because there's some people would say, I just want to be a presenter. I just want to be a dancer. I just want to be a producer. But what is the end goal? What came to your mind for that? So somebody who's up and coming, who's already living within that space and experiencing it, always think about the end goal and make sure your network is very, very strong, because you cannot do it alone. Have a network, because we are in an industry where you need to communicate with others and you need to collaborate and you need connections. Otherwise, you would be, you know, by yourself thinking you're the bee's knees, but who's connected to you? So I will say your network is your net worth, and it'll also show within the work that you do as well. Yeah. That's what I would say. That would be my advice. Just know your end goal.
Do you know you said if you don't have the network, you could be sitting there thinking that you're the business. I actually think that people feel inadequate when they don't have a network, because there's no one there to tell them or to validate them in any way. And when you don't have a network within the creative industries, it becomes very difficult to navigate. Absolutely. So when you can't navigate and you don't have jobs, you can't get contracting work, you can't turn to somebody and have that social life that creatives have. I think your confidence gets blown when you don't have a network.
Big time.
So network is...
Absolutely.
I second that.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for coming down.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being vulnerable and opening up and allowing us into the Kimberley Lovemore journey renewing.
Yes.
Like, thank you for that. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the next year for you.
There's quite a lot happening.
I know.
There's quite a lot happening, not to be cryptic. But honestly, no. Do you know what? I want to highlight, you said to me, Kimberley, stop being cryptic. And you're not the first person to highlight that. A lot of people have been saying that very recently. And I think that was my defense with myself, to not really show people who I really am. Just work, Kimberley the workaholic, you know. But I'm a human being and things happen. And to go back to you saying me being cryptic, I had to rethink about the way I communicate with others when I'm on, you know, a platform like this. And in a normal setting, it's not always showtime. It's not always presenting and being in work mode. How do you function in your neutral state?
As a human.
As a human.
As a human first, before producer or interviewer or creator.
Exactly that. Yeah. But there's a lot in store, especially for Melanin Style Diary. In December, I'll be having an event for Christmas, leading into the new year. And there'll be quite a few individuals within the industries where they'll be sitting on a panel, whether they've been a visual merchandiser in Harvey Nichols or they've worked in private production companies. They're all women of colour. Nice. And it's a platform where others can see themselves in that industry, where gems will be dropped, and it's more about positivity and rebuilding confidence as well. Yes. And I'm doing this for my community. Melanin Style Diary, honestly, I've had such a great response to the page, because it's just, like I said, it's more than just posting. There's meaning behind it, there's substance.
Yeah, I love that. I shall be there. Just make sure I get an invite.
I'll be inviting you, don't worry.
Thank you very much. So you've heard it here. Make sure you go and like and follow and all of the rest of it on Melanin Style Diaries. All the links will obviously be in the description. Massive thank you to you again.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
You're most welcome. And yeah, thank you for listening.
You was just listening to the Promisingpreneur podcast. I am Aahliyah Amerat, and thank you so much for listening all the way through. Don't forget to click subscribe and share to at least one person, because that's the only thing that's going to fuel us to carry on.